If, like me, you were born into poverty, you know how difficult it is to escape poverty. But why? What exactly makes it so difficult to escape poverty? In his 2011 book, Poor Economics, Abhijit Banerjee wrote, "It's not easy to escape from poverty, but a sense of possibility and a little bit of well-targeted help, a piece of information, a little nudge, can sometimes have surprisingly large effects." Let me explain with a story. It's a cold morning in the city of Zamboanga, Monday the 21st of February 1993. The 9-year-old Tequila wakes up at 7:21 a.m. to the greatest disappointment of his young life. The family god, Mayari, had disappointed him, and now he is bitter. Tequila had been out of school for 3 weeks because his father couldn't pay his school fees, and last night he had prayed to the god of his family, Mayari. The young boy had knelt in front of the image of crocodile and asked Mayari to send into his pocket 300 pesos so he could pay for his school fees. Hurrying into the pockets of his 3 tattered clothes this morning, Tequila found nothing. Angry, he went to Jusitilo, his father. Jusitilo, who was a carpenter, was preparing for his work when Tequila burst into his room without knocking. Without traditional morning greetings expected from a 9-year-old, Tequila confronted Jusitilo. "Papa, Mayari too didn't give me my fees." To which his father said, "Her Majesty Mayari may not throw money into your pocket, but she will definitely bring business for me, so I can pay your fees." "Papa, I've been out of school for 20 days, he protested. "I know, Tequila, but I'm working hard. I just don't make enough money because things are hard. See," he continues, "when you grow up, you'll understand." "Understand what?" Tequila asked. "That money doesn't grow on trees. Money is very scarce." "Money is scarce? But Agapito's father has a lot of money," Tequila queried. "He's a politician, don't you know?" his father responded. Okay, what about Diego's father?" Tequila asked. "He owns businesses that cheat people out of their money. Or how else can anyone have so much money as he does?" "But what about..." "What about what?" Jusitilo angrily cuts him. "If you think I'm going to sit around all day answering your childish questions, that won't happen. Check the kitchen for the pag. I kept there last night before your brothers eat it." Jusitilo left the room as Tequila started crying. It's a midday, 17th of August 1998. Tequila is now 14 years old, and since the beginning of the year, he had been working as a part-time laborer with Efren, a bricklayer, who leaves the suburbs of Zamboanga to the inner city for work every day. And today, during the break, Tequila decided to have a conversation with his 28-year-old boss. "Sir," Tequila started grudgingly, I want to ask you something." "I know what you want to ask," Efren responded suspiciously. "You want to ask me all these silly questions you like to ask your uncles and teachers. By the way, I visited the priest the other day, and he told me that you asked him to tell you how to be wealthy." Efren paused as he expects Tequila to respond. "Listen to me," he continues. "Luck. That's what it is. People become rich because they have luck." "Have I answered your question now?" Efren asked, hoping the boy will not trouble him with a silly question. "I have not even asked my question," Tequila responded. "I wanted to ask you," he continues, "why do people buy gold watches when they are not rich? I know you're asking this because you overheard me when I told Jericho that I wanted to borrow money to buy a gold watch, right?" Efren asked. "Well, I saw my teacher with a gold watch, and I suspect his salary couldn't have paid for that. My elder brother Isagani too told me he was saving money for a watch." It was at this point Jericho, one of the masons on the site, joined the conversation. "Oh, the lawyer boy," he said to Tequila as Efren laughs. "You see," Jericho decides to answer his last question, "people work so that they can buy the good things of life. But Diego's father told me that it's important to save money." "Do you save money?" Tequila asked curiously. Efren and Jericho looked at each other and burst into laughter as the bell rings. "It's time to get back to work, lawyer boy, or you'll not get paid today," Jericho warned the confused Tequila. It's a Saturday morning, 9th of June 2001. The 17-year-old Tequila just finished his final secondary school examination on Thursday, and now he visits his aunt, Pelita, to tell her about his plan to move to Baguio, the most populated part of Zamboanga's city, an area known for trade. To start trading, maybe he can make some money. "You're only 17 years old, Tequila," Pelita told him. "More so, Baguio is a very dangerous place. People die there every day. People die everywhere, Auntie. Dakila interjected. See, your father had told me everything about you. He said you're stubborn and don't listen to advice. Pratila angrily told him. Now, let me tell you something. Pratila continues. I am 76 years old. I have seen so much in my lifetime. A lot of people I know have started businesses and lost everything. One of my friends, Mahalia, left home at 23 to start trading in Dumaguete City and was killed by a gang. Why don't you stay back with your family and continue your mason work? Pelita asked. I want a better life, Auntie, and I want to seek opportunities in Baguio. Dakila responded. Is average life with some breath and life not better than a good life in the grave? Pelita asked as she was tired of Dakila's ignorance. As Dakila left his aunt's house, he found a tree by the side of the road and sat there to ruminate. Sad and depressed, Dakila started thinking about his entire life. Before his mother died when he was 7, he remembered her telling him how sugar should be carefully managed because money is too scarce to buy things. He remembered how his father daily blamed the politicians for his poverty and always told him money doesn't grow on trees. Unlike him, who saves 40% of the money he made from his part-time job as Diego's father advised him, all his 3 brothers, Isagani, Yuan and Lester, spent their money on gold watches, shoes and television sets. One of his uncles had once told him that every rich person is going to hellfire after they died. His school teacher had told him that the rich steal from everyone else, and his boss had told him that it takes luck, and more luck to become wealthy. Even the priest told him that it's better to seek heaven than to be rich. Now that he wants to step out and try his luck at life, everyone told him he's about to destroy his own life. His father told him that it's risky to travel out of the home. His elder brother told him that he would get robbed on the road. His uncle told him that only the children of the rich can start a business, and now his aunt told him he could get killed. Dakila is the last child of the family. Everyone is older than him, and if they're older than me, Dakila thought to himself, doesn't that mean they should be wiser than me? Dakila decided to go back to his father and apologize for being so rude, for asking so many foolish questions, and for talking as if he knows better than him. Henceforth, he'll be willing to live like everyone in the family. He will believe what everyone believes, think the way everyone thinks, and behave the way everyone behaves. In his 1998 book, Banker to the Poor, Muhammad Yunus wrote, and I quote, "When we want to help the poor, we usually offer them charity. Most often, we use charity to avoid recognizing the problem and finding the solution for it. But charity is no solution to poverty. If people can escape poverty simply by having money thrown at them, poverty would have been so easy to defeat. But more than money, one major obstacle in the way of escaping poverty is the culture poor people often inherit from their immediate environment."
Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Like Dakila in my story, most people who grew up in poverty have fathers who taught them that money is scarce. The rich are thieves, and the government is responsible for their woes. Their uncles taught them how to spend the money they don't have. Their mothers always cautioned them to avoid risks. Their siblings and teachers pass on to them ideas and belief systems that make them unable to break the yoke of poverty. And most importantly, their community breaks their self-esteem. To understand how this works, I'd like to refer you to the extensive work of the 20th century German-American developmental psychologist and psychoanalyst Erich Homburger Erickson. For this section, I'll be referring to 4 of Erik Erikson's books: Childhood and Society, Insight and Responsibility, Identity, Youth and Crisis, and Young Man Luther. Beginning with his 1950 book, Childhood and Society, Erik Erikson extensively wrote about how our childhood experiences affects the rest of our lives. He proposed 8 stages of psychosocial development and how they affect the rest of our life. For example, if children are encouraged to make and do things and they are praised for their accomplishments, they begin to demonstrate industry by being diligent, persevering at tasks until completed, and putting work before pleasure. But if instead adults discourage the pursuit of independent activities the way they did for Dakila in my story, or dismiss them as silly and bothersome, children develop guilt exactly the way the killer developed guilt. They start thinking that they were wrong and everyone else is right. They start thinking that truly, as their parents or siblings said, the world is dangerous, money is scarce, and the rich are thieves. From this point on, they start hoping for luck, or worse, accept poverty.
I knew just from looking at my parents and how they scrimped and saved every single penny that must have been important. That's what I'm trying to teach my family.
If parents, immediate family, and community show children good examples about how to save money, the need to be entrepreneurial, how to believe in themselves, and most importantly, how to take responsibility for their lives, these young lives are more likely to grow up to be successful adults. Believe me, if your father tells you every day since you were born that money is scarce, it's too difficult to believe in yourself that you can be rich as an adult.
Money is scarce, money is scarce, money is scarce, money is scarce, money is scarce.
In his 1968 book, Identity, Youth, and Crisis, Erik Erikson wrote, "Doubt is the brother of shame." In his 1964 book, Insight on Responsibility, he wrote, "Hope is both the earliest and the most indispensable virtue inherent in the state of being alive." And in his 1958 book, Young Man Luther, Erik Erikson wrote, "The most deadly of all possible sins is the mutilation of a child's spirit." And that's it. The reason why most poor people find it difficult to escape poverty is that the environment where they grew up had mutilated their spirit and their faith in themselves. I remember my father always telling me that money is scarce, politicians have stolen all the money, etc. I remember my elder brother asking me, "Why do you think you can get capital to start a business when our parents are poor?" I remember my mother crying because I decided to get out and pursue my dreams. If you're poor, I know what your childhood was like. And here's my advice for you. Stop focusing on money because your problem is not the lack of money. Focus on your mind because that's what the culture you grew up in had destroyed. Think about lies your parents and siblings made you believe about money and how you can change that. Focus on habits and ways of life you learned from poor people that raised you and how to imbibe new wealth-producing habits.